and gentlemen, to RLCS Overtime, your one-stop shop for all things Rocket League esports and RLCS. RLRS on the docket today. We've got Subi Smash here in the house, two beards on the desk. Can you believe it?
I have to make a statement.
Okay.
All right, because I know what chat's about to explode with. I've been the first time you were on camera, my Twitter had exploded.
Yeah.
Because people apparently had never seen a second beard in their life. There is a mutual respect between us. There's no competition.
None.
Neither are better, all right? A beard is a beard. We don't need to talk much more about it. That's how I'm going to open up the show.
Okay, so all I want to ask then is whose beard is better?
Yeah.
They're both.
What do you think?
Literally, he's just saying that only because he just got his beard trimmed so small and short. It's like,
But in fairness, I did too.
yeah,
Yeah.
but he still can't compete.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Carpet's like, I must make friends immediately because I know I've lost the beard battle at this point. To be fair, your beard was here first, and you're still the findable Carpet.
Well, I mean,
You know,
my
still
name
love
is
you
not
for
really
who you
related to
are.
the beard, but, you know, I guess it is.
I don't think nobody's ever called you Discount Subi Smash.
No.
So you do have that going for
That
you
is
right
true.
now.
You have been called Discount
Yeah.
Findable Carpet,
You're
which
not
I
like-
feel real bad for.
You're not like Junior walking around, you know? Okay.
It is 50-50, though. I get people being like, wow, Carpet, you got to step up your beard game, and others being like, Findable Carpet still is the best. I'm like, guys, it's just facial hair. We just forgot how to shave a while ago. Just let it go.
It
Just let it
happens.
go.
When I sit here and think about things that I expected to have happen in my esports career, being on a show and having everyone arguing about facial hair was not one of them because it's not esports.
You did not plan accordingly then.
I did not. We need to fix that one. But today's show is all about the promotion relegation tournament, which is coming up this weekend between the bottom two teams from the RLCS and the top two teams from the RLRS, the Rocket League rival series that was going on Fridays just before the RLCS and has been going on all season. So we've got our resident expert in the house. Obviously, we try to watch as much as we can, but we've got two big leagues as well going on, so it's not as easy for us to pay attention
What are
to the
those
rival
called?
series. Oh, the RLCS championship,
Oh, okay.
We've got
Got it.
that
Big
whole
boy
big
league.
I
thing.
haven't heard of it.
Yeah, it's another thing, kind of.
Got it.
Some people watch it sometimes. But the rival series going on the side. You are our resident expert here. Just looking back on the season, how do you feel about it? How did you feel about the season?
It was fantastic. Finally, an opportunity for the bubble teams to come
Sure.
out and prove themselves and come out and say, hey, we have skills just as much as the big guys, the top dogs. And I'm so excited that they get an opportunity to possibly end up in the RLCS.
Yeah.
This next weekend is going to be insane. I really think we're going to have some stiff competition. But overall, throughout the season, you can tell that some of these teams aren't at that RLCS level. There's just small little things that they need to work on, the timing, communication, spacing, but it's the simple stuff that you can fix by watching film, and I think this is perfect for them.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the term, you put it in quotations, the bubble teams. That's the term we've been using for all the teams that don't make it into RLCS, since the beginning of the RLCS. And it's what do you do with these teams that are clearly good, that missed out by one game in the qualifiers, and they just dominate all the community tournaments while RLCS is running on? What do you do? And I love that there is a place and a home for those teams of if you couldn't make it, we have to draw the line somewhere. We've drawn it at 8 teams right now per region. But for the rival series, there's a place for them to compete and a place for them to better themselves. And like you said, sometimes it's just one thing that they have to change.
Yeah, you said bubble teams. That's the key point here, is that these are not bad players by any means. They are very much within the same realm of skill as the RLCS, maybe not quite at that final level where they need to be at, like you said, polishing off a few extra skills or whatever, but they are still great players. So I think we have a lot in store for these matches coming up.
Yeah, so the thing, this whole segment, what we want to do is give people kind of a frame of reference. If you haven't watched any of the rival series, or if you just cut it here and there, just kind of talking some of the big points, just kind of get you up to date. And then as we move on to the show, we'll talk about the promotion relegation tournament specifically by region. And when I think about big moments from the RLRS this season, the one that jumps to mind for me is the leftovers being picked up by Fnatic. We've been waiting for Fnatic to get into this scene for so long, and now here finally they pick up a rival series team.
No, exactly, and that's why it's so huge, is they have the faith in this team to just say, okay, we're confident in you guys. We've watched you guys play, and we know that you're going to make it to the RLCS. We are going to put our money on you. They basically went all in, and to me, that's huge.
Yeah, and when the fact that it's we talked about just now, this bubble series team, the bubble series teams. Oh my goodness, we had the joke before. We call it the bubble series. It's not the bubble series, but like the bubble teams. Like they're not any lesser. They're just didn't quite make it in there. And the fact that Fnatic felt comfortable picking one of those teams up is a clear indication of just how strong these teams are.
And what I really like the most about it is you always see a pro or like an old living legend. Now, I'll use Lachinio as a prime example. He was like one of the untouchables in season 1, just an absolute monster. And he kind of had, some struggles with keeping up with being able to play consistently. He had real life kind of stepping in, and he wasn't able to keep up with the pace. And a lot of times, the player like that, they won't make it into the RLCS. They feel defeated, and they just they're done because they don't really have a place to practice. But now RLRS is a place not only for them to practice, but to still feel recognized, because now you're seeing orgs step in to even the RLRS, understanding like, hey, you guys still have a huge shot at the RLCS.
Yeah.
You still get, people still watch you. You're still one of the best. You might not be in the top 8 right now, but you're in the top 16 technically, which is still a huge feat with tens of millions of player base. So I like that we're seeing pros. We'll probably see less people retiring. You see a lot of people just they have a bad season, like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Bye.
Totally.
Poor Quinn, he might have stayed playing had the RLRS existed.
Oh.
Just a few seasons too late. Womp, womp.
Womp womp.
Bad, man.
Still here.
Feels bad, man.
Subi,
I'll never hear the end of it.
Talk to me about your experience with the RLRS. Like, what were some of the most memorable moments for you?
Well, you brought up Fnatic, also called the Leftovers, and while they were still under the name of the Leftovers, they got a 7-minute, 55-second overtime, which was absolutely insane and grinding it out. And the fact that it was 1-1, it wasn't a high-scoring game. And who other than Siki and Maestro to finish it off, to carry them through that? Just one of the few moments that really stand out on top to me, because it's the most memorable of all of them.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy the way that as the teams get better defensively, just overall in Rocket League, we are starting to see overtimes creep up more and more. We came very close in the RLCS this season to breaking that Season 2 record of 7 minutes and 17 seconds. We came so close so many times, but never quite got through there. And then recently in the Northern Arena tournament, there was a 10-minute overtime. Those guys, it's crazy how competitive this is getting. And even down at the RLRS level, teams are still so defensive.
Extremely defensive, and week 5, out of style, bringing up Lachinio, their team was forced into a very precarious situation to where if they lost, they had the potential to not play in this relegation tournament, and they had everything on the line. Well, they went down 2 games, and they were forced to go into a reverse sweep, and they ended up pulling it off in the very end, putting themselves in second place. So, I mean, it's just great moments in the RLRS.
For sure, and looking at the way the RLRS works is that the top 2 teams get to compete in the promotion relegation tournament, right? And if they don't make it, they get to play in the RLRS the next season. And if they do, the teams that they displace or end up in the RLRS. So those are our top 2 spots. And then the 3 and the 4 spot just get invited back the next season. And the bottom 4 teams drop out, have to play through the qualifier again. And that's how we still have the ability for new teams to get in here. Talk to me about these teams of Endpoint, X-Ray, Hollywood Hammers, Ambition Esports. These are our 4 teams that don't make it into the promotion relegation, but they are going to be in RLRS next season. What is the situation for these teams right now?
Oh, I'm glad you brought up Hollywood Hammers, because they were the team that was challenging out of style, and they had to beat Fibion Esports, who went 7-0 in RLRS. So very difficult task, and they fell to that number 3 spot. And it's just such a dangerous roster to me that you put them in next season, I see them taking top 2 and getting into the RLCS. They were one of my picks to actually get into RLCS and be an upset team, to go and really displace a lot of players in there and make them feel uncomfortable, but they did fall to RLRS, and here they are, Hollywood Hammers, another big name org in the RLRS, but to me, one of the top standout teams.
Sure. Yeah, and one of the situations is we had both the number 1 teams in North America and Europe go completely undefeated, really kind of feeling they were just a tier above the rest of the competition, so everyone expects them to end up in the RLCS. But the thing is, if they end up in RLCS, you're going to have teams like Renegades or teams like Envious possibly in the RLRS, and then we could just be in the same situation, or even like Secret, who beat the Leftovers, now Fnatic, to make it in RLCS. Do you think there's ever going to be a situation where it's not not just one team clearly at the top here in the RLRS?
I do feel like it's going to be like that one day. This being the first season, there were those upsets, so it kind of shook things up. But I feel like the longer it's going to be around, maybe after 2 seasons or so, you're going to get kind of like a nice flow chart of teams. It's not going to be just one team mopping up the field.
Sure.
I feel like it's going to even out eventually, but we're not there yet.
Any memorable moments from those teams that didn't qualify, the 3rd and 4th place teams, Endpoint, X-Ray, Hollywood, and Ambition?
I mean, yes, Prime Thunder and Wonder. Anytime the Wonder Thunder combo, or the Prayer Thunder, as I like to call them. Because everyone forgets about Air. You can't forget about Air. Prime Thunder and Wonder. Prime Thunder and Wonder. That's
Prime Thunder Wonder. It's
a tongue twister.
Prime Thwonder, as if you really want.
Prime Wonder. I like it. You know, just their ability to convert plays all over the field. It's like they are twins and they know where each other are at all times and they finish each other's sentences.
Yeah.
It's like that with their gameplay. They're finishing each other's sentences with passing plays and stuff up and down the field.
Yeah, totally.
A side effect of the RLRS, just thinking about it as well, what it does to RLCS teams is it gives them bigger threats to worry about. So generally, what we've seen in the past is if you didn't make RLCS, everyone was floating around, trying to be subs for teams, kind of playing in some tournaments with maybe a friend or two, and one of those people would stick on 2 of the 3 of their new roster. There'd be a huge shuffle before the season started. They'd pick up a 3rd randomly, and hopefully they did good enough to knock somebody out and make it in that 7th, 8th spot. But now we're having rosters, a whole slew of them all stick together parallel the entire season with the RLCS, you know, just brooding more competition and like getting better and improving as a team, which is what we've experienced. The people that stick together longest usually stick around, and they're usually at the top. You look at, you know, Jacob Fireburner, Cloud9, like you just see Method. People that stick together, it's paying off. So now,
flip side. Oh wait. Sometimes you have to make some changes. I don't know. We'll see what happens. You know,
I wasn't ready for that.
you know, they've been together a long time.
you know, you're one of the most savage people I know. You know that?
Guys, it's a great show of overtime so far. We've got a lot more talking to do. When we come back, we're going to interview Subi. Just hear about his story, about his life in esports, you know, where he came from, where he's at right now, where he's going to be going. This will be a lot of fun. We got that promotion relegation talk coming up when we come back to overtime. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RLCS Overtime. This show is all about the promotion relegation tournament between the RLRS top teams and the bottom teams from the RLCS. I'm your host, Wave Punk. Got Subi Smash here with me. He'll be here kind of all the entire show. So glad you were here with us. Last segment, we'll keep him around as we move forward. But this one, because we've got you here, let's talk about you.
Sure.
And what your path in esports and stuff. It's always cool to hear like everyone's got such a unique story because it just there's no like set path. You can't like go to school to get into esports, So it's just kind of everyone's got a different story here. Like the first thing I want to ask, your username, Subi Smash. Where does that come from? What's the story behind that username?
It's a little different, and it's gone through a few phases.
Okay.
I started back 16 years ago when I was 14 years old, so just aged myself. I'm an old dog in this game.
Yeah.
But I started off with LT Smash, and that was a play off of a Simpsons episode. I really was into that.
Okay.
So it went from there, and then I decided to cut that off because I got tired of people calling me Lieutenant Smash. It just sounded really weird. So I went to Smash 2003 in 2003, and from there it just kind of carried on. And then I picked up Rocket League, started playing, and I wanted to stream on Twitch, and someone had that name. And I'd just bought in my first car. Well, not a
Somebody
first
had
car.
the name Subi 2003?
Smash 2003.
Oh, Smash 2003.
It was taken.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever you are, I don't like you.
Interesting choice, 2003 specifically. Okay.
Yeah, specifically. So I was thinking of names, and I said, you know what? I just got myself a 2015 WRX. Why not call myself Subi Smash? And it stuck because it rolls off the tongue kind of nicely.
Yeah, it works out very well there, and you got this big old beard, which is like the clear characteristic of yourself here. It's maybe the biggest beard in Rocket League right now.
Yeah, and then a lot of people call me the locatable floor rug or the budget carpet, but that's okay, all in fun.
Is there enough room in Rocket League for two beards? I think is the question right now. We'll find out as we move forward. But back to esports here. When did esports first come on your radar? Because it wasn't around when you were born. It wasn't around when any of us were born. It's a very new thing. Like when did you find out that esports was a thing?
Well, back when I started playing when I was 14, I really liked competitive gaming. I liked the aspect of being able to play against another person. It was so fun to be able to get your buddies together online or at a LAN and start gaming together. So I got involved as a player back in Counter-Strike 1.4. We would go back to local LAN centers with big old CRT monitors, 30 computers set up, cords all over the floor, and just start playing tournaments that way. And it was a fun time. Then I started to grow up, went to college, got myself a wife, all that good stuff, and Rocket League came out, and I just was instantly drawn to that and the community. It was just something I fell into.
Yeah, so what was it was it just the community? Like what drew you to Rocket League in particular?
Well, a friend told me that it was free on PlayStation 4. I didn't realize that. So I went on Steam and I saw it was only $20. And I'm used to those $60 games. I said, $20, that's nothing. We'll see what it's like. Didn't have a controller or anything, so I started off KBM.
Okay.
And joined my first match, and the entire 5 minutes, I could not stop laughing.
Yeah.
It was just total rookie play. Nobody could fly through the air. Everybody just driving straight to the ball. But it was the most fun I've had playing a video game in such a long time that it just carried throughout. And then I saw players on YouTube and on Twitch, and it's like, hey, I want to try and do that. So I wanted to get better and better and better, and I'm still at that point where I want to continue to grow as a player and get better, and it's never going to happen.
Right, there's always going to be someone out there better. The thing I love about Rocket League is that kind of like, it has the most forgiving and most enjoyable learning curve. Like when you start out and everybody's so terrible at the game, it's still so much fun, And I've had games where my team lost 5-1, and I dived down in ranked, and I still saved the replay because I was like, oh, that was such a good game. Everyone just played so well in that game, even though we got slaughtered.
Or if you got the one goal and it's such an awesome play, you got to save the replay so you can show all your buddies. It's just such a good game, and it's so short. Games are for only 5 minutes long. If you're in a pinch, you can go play a round or two of Rocket League.
That is a big difference between Rocket League and a lot of the other sports. Like you talk about Counter-Strike, they play up to 30 rounds, and almost all MOBAs are 30 to 40 minutes of a game. So the fact that Rocket League is only that 5 to 7 minute range, significantly more manageable. So did esports kind of fall off your radar when you kind of okay, I'm going to go and live in the real world and get away from Counter-Strike? Did you kind of stop paying attention to that point and then got back in with Rocket League?
Yeah, 100%. I fell off. I never stopped gaming. I'll always be a nerd at heart. I mean, I've gone through every popular game that's been out there. But it just wasn't something that was really important to me at the time. I had to go to college. I had to get that degree just to prove something to someone, even though I don't utilize that degree. But, just started going through, living my life, and then Rocket League came out, and it's just, I don't know how I got to this point, but I'm here.
Yeah, well, so when you found out the Rocket League was an eSport thing, was it just like try to get involved in any way? Was there a specific goal at the beginning? Like, talk to me about from finding Rocket League to where you are now. Like, what's the story there?
Well, I started off by watching you guys on the RLCS. I saw it on Twitch one weekend, and I was like, what is this? And it was week 1. Just kind of like, no way, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Looks like so much fun. So I went and checked out Torment on Twitch and just started chatting it up with him, asking about weekly community tournaments. I had no clue that there was such a huge community outside of the RLCS in Rocket League. So I was asking him, and I went to sign up because I wanted to be a player.
Sure.
I wanted to be that guy on stage.
Doesn't everybody want to be a player at
Yes.
some point, right?
So I went and I checked out all these organizations, and I said, this is pretty cool. Oh, they actually run, tournaments online, and we can watch the VODs and stuff like that. That's cool. They have their own casters. I kind of want to get involved in that. So I was scouring through Reddit one day, looking at, any organization that's taking applications, and one of the top ones, in my opinion, that I had seen on Twitch was PRL. So I put in an application to be a caster. Never heard back.
Okay.
So kind of bummed out, but then there was a startup organization that was new, up and coming, so why not? I'm gonna try. Well, lo and behold, I became one of the members, and stuff wasn't getting done, so I just, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and make this online. I'm gonna get everything going, get our Twitch channel up, and started this organization. We just started having fun on Saturday nights, and it was different than the rest of the tournaments.
Yeah.
And PRL actually took notice and kind of took us under their wing, and that's how I ended up in the community as a caster.
Yeah, for sure. And PRL, still a very influential community organization right now. And then when the Rival Series comes along, you get picked up for the Rival Series. Like, how did it feel to get the phone call? Or how did you find out? How did you get confirmation you're going to be in the Rival Series?
It was actually through Discord.
Okay.
I got a message online, and I kind of just had to sit back for a moment and wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm gonna go and cast Rocket League in a studio. Is this real life?
Yeah.
Is this really happening?
Yeah.
And it was just, it was huge. First thing I did was go and tell my wife, and she has been so supportive through the whole thing because
That's awesome.
I've had to put in some work, to get better and to make an organization and all that stuff. So she's been extremely supportive of me up until this point, and I'm sure she'll continue to be. So I went and told her, and she was super happy that finally it paid off. Essentially, I'm going to be taking the next step.
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing to take away for other people from your story is that it's the same in many ways as all of our stories. That if you want to do something in esports, you have to create your own opportunity. You have to basically make your own organization, do what you want to do, and somebody will eventually notice and be like, this guy's doing a good job. Let's pay him to do the thing he wants to do right now, and then you'll be able to move forward. So the RLRS, we've been watching that. We'll be talking about it all of the show here. What has the experience overall been like for you with the Rival Series?
Oh, it was incredible. The first night we got to the studio to check things out, and there was a lot of stuff that had to be done, sets that needed to be built. All of us got involved. Didn't matter that I'm a caster, I can get my hands dirty too.
Sure.
So we're building stuff on set. We were up until 2 a.m. the night before our cast. Woke up at 7 a.m. to study, our butts off to get ready for that.
Yeah.
And then right when we went live, it was just a surreal feeling. Being in the same room as the person you're casting with, to be able to vibe with, and you can high five during your cast. I mean, it was just so much fun. It felt like a little family running the show.
Yeah, no, the show business family vibe is always such a cool one. And it is the first time you get to cast with somebody right there next to you, where there's not the Skype latency that we're all used to from community casts and stuff like that. It's a magical experience. We're running out of time here. Quick machine gun question. Do you have a favorite item in the game?
Favorite item in the game would be the unicorn topper.
Unicorn topper.
Absolutely.
I've never heard that one. Do you have painted ones?
Oh, you have to have painted ones.
What's the favorite color?
Favorite? Only because I don't have pink. It's got to be red.
Red. Okay, cool. What's favorite car?
Favorite car? Octane, all day long.
The Octane with the
Easy.
unicorn horn.
Easy.
Works out well there. Dude, Subi, I'm so glad you're here. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about the Rival Series and the Promotion Relegation Tournament. That's what's coming up next. We're going to we'll start with North America, then we'll move over to Europe, kind of just break it down with the two teams from RLCS, the two teams from RLRS, how they face up against each other, and what's going to happen with the tournaments as they happen this weekend. It's going to be crazy. Subi's got a lot more to talking to do. We'll all do all of that. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have that here on Overtime. Welcome back to RLCS Overtime. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just got done talking to Subi about his life. You know, just some nice bro time here.
Opened up to you.
Yeah, you know, just had a great time. You guys will see it later, I'm sure. But now, gotta talk about the North American Promotion Relegation Tournament between the bottom two teams from the RLCS and the top two teams from the RLRs. Take a look at the bracket. Here's how it's all gonna go down. It's a double elimination bracket. You'll see the two teams play each other. They have the four teams playing each other there, and then the two teams in the winner bracket, the winner of that match will just straight up qualify. So it's kind of, it's a double elim, but not like a technical double elim, because one team will just straight up qualify through the lower bracket, as you can see down there at the bottom. So you do have a second chance if you lose that first round matchup. It's not like the RLCS qualifications for LAN, where it's just one round here. You do get two shots to make it in, but two of these teams will be in RLCS next season. Two of those teams will be in the RLRs, which is just crazy.
Think of it this way. You have to win 2 matches.
Yes.
That is your requirement. You have to win 2 matches, so you have to beat 2 of the 3 teams that are in this promotion relegation
It's
tournament.
kind of almost like a Swiss.
It's like one game away from a Swiss.
Yeah, like it's very
Yeah.
similar. Like you will almost always be playing the teams that have kind of the similar record as
Yeah.
you know, as you move forward there. So good stuff, and we want to break down each of these matches in particular. And we want to start with Out of Style versus Allegiance, and we can start here with the Allegiance story. This team had a good, they had an upset in the qualifier, and to make it into the RLCS.
Huge upset.
Yes, and then we all wondered, like, how are they going to perform? And the thing about Allegiance, they were like one game away so many times from winning. They had so many game 5s, they did so well, but just could not pull it off in the end. Had kind of lackluster season, and now here they are.
I mean, consistency and pressure are the things that you see teams build up over years. And that's where you see a lot of things fall. We use them as a prime example. G2 is one of those, where consistency and pressure is something they're still learning. And we see them week after week. We have to question, which G2 is it? And everyone gets sick of the storyline, but then all of a sudden they lose again.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, this is why we're so not confident in which one we're going to see.
Yeah.
And I think that takes years. So you see a team, like Allegiance, clearly they have the individual skill. They can work well as a team. Some of the top plays that we saw in a week would be from this roster. The guys know what they're doing, but it really is like, how do you deal with the pressure when you're in a game 5 situation where you're one game away and you don't do a great job? Or how do you just deal with being consistent week after week and making sure you're getting the right kind of practice?
Yeah, totally. And you hear this, their one win, they were 1-6 in league play, ended at 7th. Their one win came against FlyQuest, which they were able to win 3-1. A team that we heard Kronovi talk about in overtime. He was very hot on FlyQuest, thought that they would be doing really well. They ended up in 6th right there, just above Allegiance here. But Seabass and company, they were just, they had the craziest pass plays when they were having good days, but when they were off, they just could not get it going together. I mean, this is the double taps you see Tyler point off there. Absolutely quality stuff.
Ty, not Tyler.
Oh, that's just right. It's just Tyler.
Yes, anyway, Punk. But really, we're blessed with teams like PSG that just come together with 3 new teammates and have fantastic seasons, and the synergy is, just like so visible between the 3 players. And that when you have a team like, Allegiance, excuse me. It's really not that big of a surprise to see that they do have some growing pains. And I think that even for their first season together, they did make some big team changes the season before, right? I think that they had an admirable performance.
Yeah, but they only got swept twice in league play out of all their 7 series. They only had to sweep twice, so they were able to get wins considerably, and they took it to Game 5 a number of times there too. So very close to a different season there from Allegiance. You know that they're going to be a huge threat as they move in here, and they'll be facing off against Out of Style. This is a team that preseason we were thinking possibly had RLCS hopes. Got some big names here. Justin, a player that was huge, and Lachinio in particular, a former world champion player. You know, talk to us about the journey of Out of Style here through the rival series.
Out of Style, you know, they started off week 1, and you're checking out some awesome plays right there. Lachinio, obviously capable of some amazing stuff, but week 1, game 1, they had to face Fibion, and that's not the best way to open up your rival series debut against the best team that there is in the league. But after that point, they didn't drop one single game, or one match rather. So I mean, the fact that they just learned from that, it looked like. There were still some shaky plays time and time again.
Yeah.
But I feel like Justin, he's going to be a name to look out for. If you watch the rival series at all, he was insane. And he reminded me a little bit, he had a little bit of squishy in him. He's a little squishy.
Whoa, squishy.
I mean, it's
I don't know
funny
how
you
he
say
feels
that.
about
I
being
think
called a little squishy.
I think Squishy was like actually cheering for him, saying Justin is one of the players that when I was grinding and starting to really improve, Justin was one of the players I did it with, and people don't know about him, but you know they're sleeping on him.
Yeah, and the thought, how do we just collectively here feel about Lachinio now? This is a guy who was a former world champ, and he took a long time off, and this has kind of been his return tour, trying to get back to this former glory he had then. He was an MVP at times, you can see. How do we feel about Lachinio right now?
And honestly, just from my experience, like getting to meet him there at season 1 and talking to him just over the years, he has just such a great personality. He's such a humble guy, no matter how good he was. I mean, he was, for the longest time, there was like this famous aerial gif that went around on Reddit.
I know, sure.
And it was before we knew what air dribbling was, before anything was going on. The dude was just air rolling for no reason. It was the most beautiful thing we've ever seen, and it was Lachinio that started that.
Yeah.
He has kind of paved the way for a lot of the ridiculous mechanics that happened through season 1 because he was just so sound. But again, he wasn't able to keep up just being consistent. But I think him being super humble, it really works well with him, like working well with his teammates. I think just being like, generally, I see a lot of players that get to their head sometimes, especially when they're in like the RLRS. They're like, well, I'm the best here. I deserve to be the best. But I think he's still in like a phase where he's like, I just want to improve because he knows that he's kind of fallen from his throne.
Sure.
And I think he's got high hopes. I mean, obviously he's had it before, so he can get it again.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of putting in the time.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that match moves, how that match ties itself up. That's the word I was looking for there. Moving on, there's the other sentence I was trying to say. Fibion versus Renegades. Fibion undefeated here in the RLR. It's going to be going up against Renegades, who have had just kind of a rough few seasons here in RLCS. They barely squeezed their way into LAN in season 3, and then they did not have a very good performance there. And now here, coming out in the bottom, they have the worst win percentage in the league, actually. Allegiance had a better win percentage than them, even though they both went 1-6 here. So Renegades, first team we want to talk about in this matchup. How do we feel about Dapper and company?
I mean, I was talking to Quinn. I want to hear what Quinn has to say first, and then we'll go off of what he has.
About Renegades? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dapper
so ready.
is the man, all right? Really, one of the greatest players, I think, and he doesn't deserve to be in RLRS, and I think that he could go and easily find any team and just about improve it in some form. I didn't think this used to be the case, but now I think he's really grown as a player. I think a big problem they had was Moses. I don't think he really fit in with the team very well. I think Timmy doesn't have enough time to dedicate to the game to the level that maybe Dapper is striving for, and I think that just... You might need to make some team changes there for something to happen. I don't think they need a full rebuild. Dapper is still good enough. And I think with Timmy alone, or even with Miho, I think those three could go compete again and be just fine.
But they tried to make the change at the end of the season, bringing in Miho, who's also been in a sub role the whole time. And
too
it's just not
little, too late. I mean, you know yourself that the substitute doesn't do anything throughout the season. It's very rare that they have any serious impact. It's a 3v3 game, and you practice as that main 3.
Tell that to Turbo Pulsa.
Yeah, he did. I mean,
Turbo Pulsa at the time I think was the best player in the world. So
we've seen some subs have some big differences
you can
here,
have impact,
but it doesn't happen every time. And oftentimes, what more happens is the story.
The subs usually also don't come in the last second, the last game of your series. Like right before you're about to get knocked out. Huge pressure. He hasn't played in forever. It's a really different situation. But I do think that Renegades needs to make some changes. I do think that they can stay in RLCS.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, but they have to first. Their first trial is going to be Fibian, a team that everybody expected to have. This is the team that Allegiance upset to get into the RLCS. So you know that Fibian's out for blood, and they proved it with their run of going completely undefeated. Fibian's run. I mean, was there anything other than just going up for Fibian here in the rival series?
Not at all. They lost a total of 4 games.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 games. It's out of the entire league play. That's 5 weeks of play, and they only dropped 4 games. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon. They were first in goals per game, assists per game, and second in shots per game. They just put a ton of pressure on teams, and I don't feel like the Renegades are going to be able to deal with that at all.
Yeah, it's weird because I predicted Fibian to make it into the RLCS really early on. I said this is going to be a successful team, but I do think that Fibian is going to edge out Renegades if they don't figure out the situation with Moses versus Miho.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, they put together crazy plays. I mean, like this, you just watch the goal from Chicago. This is the angle he finds here to find right dead center of the net. They're already got the win. He just secures it there. This is the sort of stuff that we said preseason. We're like, clearly this is a team that can find it. Yeah, you
That angle's crazy. That's my authentic reaction right here. I haven't seen this goal one.
It's like literally on the wall almost. The ball is touching the wall.
You can see his shadow literally on the back wall. That is incredible.
Okay,
And the biggest difference I see between them, I think, is cohesion.
Sure.
You'll see Fibian, they work so well as a team, and I think Renegades, they struggled. And I don't know what it was, whether it was maybe one person didn't match well with the roster, or they just weren't practicing. Maybe their playstyles just don't work out. That is still a problem. It's really ethereal, so it's hard to pinpoint. But sometimes playstyles just don't mesh well.
Sure.
But I think Fibian, they work so well together. I mean, 4 games all season, that is like a record that you need to be scared of.
No, we got to head to break here, but I want quickly from you guys just a quick prediction. Which 2 teams are making it in from the promotion relegation system carpet?
I think Fibian
is
going to make it, and I think Allegiance are going to stay.
Fibian and Allegiance.
Yep.
I actually am going to be the same. I'm going to say Fibian and Allegiance. What about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and ride that train and go Fibian and
Wow. I'm on the train too. You the boost? All right. Full train here. Everyone believing in Fibian and Allegiance right now. Out of Style and Renegade's going to give them a run for their money, going to try and pull it off, guys. It's going to be a crazy tournament. We all predicted the same thing here, but it could easily go the other way. Anything can happen in a tournament like that. Now, when we come back here to overtime, going to do the same thing, just over in Europe. Talk about Fnatic and the boys, all the teams over there in that promotion relegation tournament. We'll be right back after the break.
Solar eclipses. Solar eclipses. Solar eclipses. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we can start again. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we can start it.
Everything changed. I
Welcome back to Overtime, folks. Just got done talking about the North American Promotion Relegation Tournament, and now we're going to do the same thing over in Europe. I'm your host, Wave Punk. Got a fightable carpet, got a Subi Smash, and Quinn Lobdell with me, guys. Got promotion relegation.
Guy.
I knew the episode was like, what's he going to say next? It's like, Rocket League. Just
Surprise. Who'd have guessed?
could have been creative, but decided to not be. Let's take a look at the bracket here for Europe and see how things are all shaping up here at the beginning. Team Secret versus Fnatic, and then Team Envy versus the Juicy Kids. Same thing as before, as we saw over in North America here. One team will win through the upper bracket, one will win through the lower, so the lower bracket never comes back up and faces the upper bracket. So it's a double limb Swiss kind of hybrid abomination thing. It's actually pretty cool. I actually really like this. You know,
It's different.
it's different. It works good. We'll get our two teams for RLCS.
You essentially, having one chance feels really bad.
Yeah.
So you have two chances. But I think also forcing you to beat everybody feels bad too. So it's right in the middle. Like you have to win at least two, and you have to beat at least two of the three teams you're up against, which seems fair. All four should be on a pretty close level as far as. If our RLRS and RLCS have been competing at a similar level, which they have been.
Yep.
But you get more than one chance, because one chance would just feel real poopy.
For sure, and every match in that bracket matters there. Every win is critical to getting you one step closer to getting into RLCS. Two of these teams trying to stay there. Two of these teams trying to get there for the first time and keep from dropping back to the rival series again for a second season here. And as we look at the first match that we want to talk about, it was Envy versus the Juicy Kids, and it still blows my mind that we are talking about Envy in a promotion relegation tournament. This is the defending world champions. You can see them here. They were under Northern Gaming when they won it last year, and they had Turbo Pulsar with them, but they swapped Turbo for Greasy Meister, you see on your screen now. Like it's not a substitution that you think would break the team. And they had a great offseason, so this was just a nightmare of a season here for Envy.
I think it broke both teams. Flipside and Envy. I don't know what happened then. But I mean, yeah, like you said, seeing Envy here fighting for RLCS, qualification.
Just remind everyone of the roster: Greasy, Devo, Remco.
How?
Think about that.
Those are like, and Greasy Meister has won the world championship before. Like it's not like you took a world championship team and put some rando on it. Like this is a player who just the season prior was the reigning world champ. So and now neither of those teams is going to be going to land to defend themselves here. And oh my goodness, so like Envy, like is there anything left to say at this point other than this is their last chance to stay back in the RLCS?
Yeah, I mean, it's enough public shaming for now. We really need to see them kind of just come together and stop making excuses. When you're fighting for relegation to stay qualified in the RLCS, you really need to make something happen.
Now, the one really good thing you did here, they played against PSG. PSG was undefeated. This was their last match, and we still have yet to have an undefeated team in RLCS because Envy decided to have a great week in the last week. So that was a good sign, but still, they have not had the best performance in other tournaments since that week either. Envy really has to kind of get their stuff together right now.
Right, it's just hard to understand where it all went wrong because they did have a good off season. I think a lot of this comes down to just the quality of the competition really stepping up a notch, and Envy really not taking it as serious as before. Maybe kind of undervaluing Turbo.
For sure. Now, talking about Juicy Kids over on the other side, talk to me about this team, Subi. Like, what can people expect? Do you expect them to take it from Envious here? Like, what sort of season did Subi have?
I had a great season. Thank you for asking. I'm definitely going to be winning the world championship. No, but Juicy Kids had a fantastic season in the RLRS. They opened it up and went 6-0 as far as games played went, but then kind of fell off. Finished the season overall 5-2. They look strong, but they force themselves into a lot of bad situations. They allow a lot of shots on net, and it's just, I don't think they're going to be able to handle the offensive pressure. I don't see them making it out of this promotion tournament.
Yeah, so not a lot of faith right now in Juicy Kids, but they are starting off against an Envious that we've talked about, like not in necessarily the best position. So if there's ever been a chance to get a win off of Remco, Devo, and Greasy Meister, still can't believe we're talking about those three names right now.
Yep.
But if there's ever been a chance to get a win off those guys, this is probably the best. And now moving forward to the other side, I really want to talk about this matchup. We have Fnatic versus Team Secret, formerly known as Emotion, and if you watch, this is formerly the Leftovers versus formerly Emotion, which is the matchup from the qualifiers, where we saw Emotion knock out the Leftovers from RLCS, and now they get a chance at revenge here. Can't wait to see it, and Fnatic, one of the biggest names in esports that we've been waiting, finally here. It's going to be awesome to watch them play.
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect, especially because we've seen the world's craziest upsets. If it happens again, yeah, I'm just gonna wash my hands. I'm gonna tell Snasky I can't be his friend anymore.
On the side, we talked about in North America that like Fibian just had this dynamite season, and Fnatic they have the same record here. Is there anything different compared to Fibian and Fnatic?
They lost one more game played, but they still went undefeated. So I mean, I think they just got a little too complacent going to try and battle for that RLCS spot and didn't take this team seriously. So now when they go for revenge, I don't think that they're going to open it up slow.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to go full pedal to the metal, super aggressive right off the bat.
Well, I think one of the big differences between Fibian and Fnatic is that Fnatic is made up of players who have all been to LAN before. These are LAN experienced players that have all been in the RLCS. Where Fibian is all a bunch of rookies right now. They've had good LAN experience in tournaments other than the RLCS ecosystem here. But these guys, they were there. They had Farah last time. Now they have Maestro, who is a LAN boy in his own right as well. So a lot of power, a lot of veteran experience. I think that was a huge part of what helped them get that 7-0.
Oh, yeah, it has to be. I mean, when you go against the RLRS teams that don't have that experience, they've been playing mainly weekly tournaments and stuff like that. Like, this is a massive stage. You've got to know that the butterflies are going to eventually get to you. So they went into that with that basically like the senior mentality. They know how to punch their ticket to breakfast with that discount, just kind of take the easy road. But going into this, I don't think they're going to sleep at all. It's going to be a stomping, in my opinion.
And they are going up against Secret, who had a great qualifier, but then had a terrible, terrible season as they just struggled to get any wins at all. And you see, like, again, we're going to pull the highlights here from their victories against the Leftovers back when they were called Aeriality. And these guys, I want them to have an opportunity here. And I'm not going to lie, I would laugh really hard if Team Secret were to beat Fnatic and just to have that beat again when they had a good up week. But right now, they've just given me so little to hold on to right now.
I mean, good up week is one thing, but this is a situation where I've seen a lot of things on the line, but I think this is probably the most intense we'll see teams try and perform. There's something about that promotion, something about being where you feel like you might deserve you should be. And especially when we saw upsets last season, and then watching all your friends and all your teammates, people you competed with last season, all get to play without you.
Yeah.
Or, being a team that's there and wants to hold your spot and hold your ground. This is probably where we're going to see the tightest competition and people really bringing out stuff we had never seen from them. But I think just in general, the raw experience and Leftovers will probably give them a bit of an advantage.
Now, before we head out here, I just got to get, again, predictions of the two teams who are making it through. Out of our 4 teams, we've got Fnatic, Secret, we have Envy, and we have
And Juicy Kids, right?
Juicy Kids? This was called? For some reason, I wanted to call them outside of. That's North America. No.
I've got faith in the Envy boys. I think Envy are going. I mean, I can't see a place where those 3 make it in the RLRS. It's actually more like I just can't see that. My brain can't comprehend it.
It's kind of like flip side not making land, but we had that happen, so.
Oh, true. And I think Fnatic will be the other team. I think Fnatic truly they've really ramped up all season, undefeated the entire time, and I don't think they'll slow down.
I think we got a train here going again. I'm going Fnatic Envy as well.
All aboard.
Okay. All right, we got a consensus on the desk for both North America and Europe, guys. It's been a great show here. We got one more thing in store for you. You want to hear from Snasky from Fnatic? I sure do. We interviewed him back when he was on the Leftovers. Now he's on one of the coolest teams in Europe. We'll get to interview him here on Overtime right after the break.
you. Ooh, I love you, love you. I do need you, need you. I do, I love you, I do need you. I love you, love you. I do need you. Ooh, I love you, I do need you.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to RLCS Overtime. This entire show has just been basically about the promotion relegation tournament that's happening this weekend. Two of the teams from the RLCS are going to be facing off against two of the teams from the rival series. Which of the two teams get to make it into the RLCS for the next season? It's all going to be on the line, and we cannot wait to see how it's going to happen. One of the teams competing for that spot is Fnatic from the rival series, and we've got Snasky here, formerly of the Leftovers, now of Fnatic, back here on Overtime for his second time. How you doing, friend?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Last time we talked, you were on the team The Leftovers, and you had just reverse swept Flipside, and you had beaten Northern Gaming in the same week back in the beginning of Season 3. Had a very strong showing at the Season 3 LAN, and things were looking good for Season 4, but then things kind of went downhill in the qualifiers. Walk me through the qualifiers for you guys. Like, what happened there?
Well, obviously, first of all, we swapped out Farah for Maestro, and it happened kind of late because Maestro got kicked a week before signup. So we had like roughly a month and a half, but we were very confident that we were going to make it through just on pure individual skill. But unfortunately, we had all three of us had a terrible day that day. We played probably the worst RocketLeague we've ever done. And when you don't really have the team play to go back on when you play bad individually, like a lot of teams do, then you're just bound to lose, and that's what happened.
Yeah, for sure. Like, how did, I feel like it's kind of an obvious question, but like, how did you guys feel? Like, obviously we were expecting to get into RLCS, you know, like, what was it like in those moments, those days right after knowing you're going to be in the rival series instead?
Honestly, it was not that bad because we were already in contact with Fnatic. So we told them from the beginning there was a chance because EU is so tough, but we didn't expect it. But they told us straight away that they would still want to continue with this. So it was still rough that we weren't going to be at LAN at all. Like, we had no chance of doing it, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been because we were still going to get Fnatic. We were probably just going to continue getting better as we have done, and we're pretty confident going into the promotion tournament.
For sure. Did playing in the rival series instead of the championship series, did that change your game plan at all?
It probably made us focus a bit more on ourselves rather than the opponents we meet as well, like in RLCS. But me and Siggy really like to focus on our opponents as well as ourselves, so we can adapt to what they do. In RLRS, we were more about finding our own play style, figuring out how we like to play, so we can go back and rely on that team play rather than individual performance. And that's really what we've been doing and what's been done. And now I think we're ready to go back into RLCS and really do great again.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you guys had a tear through the rival series. We've never had a team go undefeated in league play in the RLCS, but you guys and Fibian over in North America both were able to win every single match in the rival series. Like, what were the keys to victory for you guys?
Probably just being a level above individually. Like, to be honest, I don't want to take anything away from the RLRS team, but I think it was very clear that we didn't necessarily play as well as we could have on all the days, and we still pretty convincingly won most of the games. So I think it was just a clear level of difference.
Just a tier above everybody else there. Was there any, when a team gets on a run like that and they're at the top and they haven't lost, you know, there's always kind of this expectation of when's it going to happen, you know? I mean, we had this with the RLCS with both Method and PSG, who just were setting records for how long you could possibly go undefeated. And even at the very end, PSG finally dropping Envious. Was there any extra pressure every week as you continued to win?
I wouldn't say so. I think we got most of the difficult games out of the way very early. Like, we had Supersonic Avengers and Inspiration the first week, then Juicy Kid the next week, and then we had a bunch of probably easier game over the next couple of weeks until we met endpoint of the last week. So I wouldn't say that we had more pressure on us during the season. I actually think the fact that we got like some of the harder games out of the way early made us more comfortable and gave us more time to like focus on the promotion games rather than the actual league.
For sure. Well, and UK's come out completely unscathed there, defeating everything that comes up in your path. And we've talked about this a few times. I want to shift topics a little bit here. Through all of Season 3, you were called the leftovers. You were the players who nobody wanted and no one could pick up. And we kept saying, like, this team's so good. Somebody pick up this team. They need a new name. They're clearly not the leftovers anymore. They're fantastic. And all of Season 3, you guys go unsigned, and then some of Season 4. And then finally, you see Fnatic show up, and you actually tweeted out about this. You were so happy about it. You said, super happy to be joining Fnatic after a long wait and many no's, which just proves that the patience is key. To have patience is key. Tell us the story about being unsigned and the long haul of just being the leftovers and finally finding Fnatic.
Well, obviously, when you try to go pro in a game, like I wouldn't call myself a professional gamer while I was at the leftovers. I was just unemployed and doing my hobby, like for a living. I tried to do it, but like when we finally get picked up, you can actually say that you're a pro gamer now because you get paid for playing the game you love. And it's just such a relief that now you actually have somewhat of a help from them, like a safety net from them. And it makes us capable of like focusing much more on playing the game rather than having to focus on money situations, or like me, for example, who's the leader of the team, has to do all the managing stuff, all the coaching stuff, like everything. Now I have Fnatic to do that for me. Like we got a fantastic manager called Kojo. He's like done so much for us already, like. And we've been part of Fnatic for like 2 or 3 weeks. It's just a huge relief in general, and I think it will push us even further than we have ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like it's a big motivation, a big just encouragement of an energy boost there. Have they hooked you guys up with a lot of swag?
Yes, they have.
Oh yeah, I'll look at that.
Yeah. They have hooked us up with a lot of swag from the get-go. They have treated us very well already, and I don't think any of us regret waiting this long.
For sure, absolutely. I mean, it's one of the biggest names in all of esports, and so you guys get to wear it now here in Rocket League. That's just fantastic. You've played through the Rival Series. I've asked a number of players about this because the Rival Series is a new thing here for Season 4, and it kind of changes up the way that the RLCS works and how you get into RLCS. After having played through the Rival Series, how do you feel now about the promotion relegation system?
I think it's great. I think they should use the same system for the LAN teams. I think the fact that you have to play one best of 7 to go to LAN is kind of ridiculous for the players. I mean, I understand it's good for the viewers and it's exciting and everything, but I think for the players' sake, I think they should do the same for LAN, because a double elimination best of 7 is probably the best way to figure out which team is truly the best.
Totally, I think it's a good system there, and I'm glad that even as a team that probably you wanted to be in RLCS, but the Rival Series, it gives you a way to immediately get back in without having to play through another massive qualifier there and stuff. So yeah, definitely it's doing its job. Looking forward, you guys, this coming weekend you're going to be playing for that spot in RLCS to be able to play in Season 5. Obviously, I assume you expect your team to make it in. You guys have the fire underneath you guys. You guys want to get that back. Which team from Europe gets the other spot?
I have to pick Envy. I don't really think Juicy Kids stand a chance against any of the teams. I think Secret, perhaps if they hit another fantastic day as they did against us in the qualifier, maybe they could upset Envious. But I think it'll be anything. I think we'd be disappointed if we don't get through the upper bracket of the qualification.
Yeah, you want to just keep the win streak going at this point. You guys 7-0, just continue that one on. It'd be great. Dude, Snasky, it's been great to talk to you, friend. Any other shout-outs you got before I let you go?
Obviously a shout out to Fnatic, a quick shout out to our manager again, Kojo. He's been doing great. I like to give a shout out to Khan also. He's the guy we were in contact with when negotiating with Fnatic. They've all been great guys. They're fantastic people, and it's been amazing so far, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for all of us.
Fantastic stuff there. Snasky, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us. Good luck in the promotion relegation tournament.
Thank you.
Awesome. That is Snasky of Fnatic. Always great to talk to the players here on Overtime. Guys, it's been a great show. We've got the promotion relegation tournament coming up this weekend. Definitely tune in this weekend to see which teams will be playing in Season 5. But for me, for Snasky, for everyone else here at Overtime, thanks for watching. Have a great week. We'll see you later.